Now, even though this Federation of Fly Fishers Pattern Encyclopedia is one of my favorite all-time fly tying books out there, with 1,600 patterns in it, it can be challenging when you find a fly you want to tie and you go to research it and you find zero information on it. Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Flies. I'm Matt, thank you for stopping by. Now the pattern I'm talking about today, it's in the general purpose nymph section and it's called the two-tone series. There are several of them on here and it's kind of a generic mayfly looking nymph, but the defining characteristic of it is it uses a turkey biot that is a couple of shades different color than the body. So you get the two-tone effect. And you could use a dark biot and then a lighter colored body or vice versa or any combination in between. So I didn't find any history on this fly. The only place I've seen it is this book. But it's a pretty cool pattern. It's not hard at all to tie. Now, what I really like about this pattern is it's very versatile. I mean, you can just mix the colors and pretty much mimic anything out there that you want to match. So again, pretty easy pattern. I think you're going to like it. Let's give it a shot. So there's one in the vise, just a general purpose two-tone nymph from the two-tone series. Now, common sizes for this guy are 12 to 18. I'm going to tie it on a size 12. It's just a little easier to see. So this is, I think, a 2X long standard nymph hook. And I'm going to lay down a base of 70 denier in black. Now this is where you could vary it if you wanted, get crazy and use some bright thread if you wanted to make a hot spot for the head. But I'm going to stick with black. Just as easy. Okay, now for the tail. It's just turkey feathers from a turkey tail feather. So some of these right here, see these are kind of stuck together still. What you might want to do, just roll it in your fingers, break them up a little bit. But if they don't break up that much, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it's going to get wet, they're going to break up ultimately anyway. So let's tie in a tail, a good size tail, maybe a little more than a hook gap. It'll give you a nice profile. So I like that right there. Now go ahead and snip off this excess or just bury it. Because we have a fuzzy body underneath, so you don't have to worry about a really smooth underbody. Now the next component, we do have a rib, so let's go ahead and tie the rib in. Just a small copper, small, even extra small is going to be fine. I'm going to catch it in midway up and then just wrap it in parallel to the hook all the way back. Okay, now back your thread off just a little bit. And the next component we're going to put on is a turkey biot. So for this size 12, and these turkey biots are, obviously a good bit bigger than, say, a goose biot. You can see that right there. It's pretty big. And you want to take just one and catch it in on the pointy side, and have the pointy side going forward. Now this just might take just a little bit of trial and error. So let's see, you do want it on the top because it's going to flip over as a wing case. So I think this is going to be fine right here. Catch it in all the way to the back of the tail. And before we go any farther, just flip it over and make sure you're coming off over the top of the hook like you want. I think that's going to be fine right there. And let's go ahead and bury this. Probably not necessary, but why not? Okay, now take your thread back to almost the where we're going to start wrapping the dubbing and put some wax on. Now here's where you have another option. Is what color of a body do you want to put on it? And now the whole purpose of the two-tone nymph is that biot is a pretty stark color difference from the body. So what I'm doing, and it's a nymph, so I like to go with a natural fur for a nymph body. This is just a mix. This is a tan rabbit with a little bit of bright orange hare's mask. And I think it looks pretty good with this color combination. Now, if you don't get this mix perfectly, don't worry about it. You might end up with a variegated look, and that can be a pretty cool touch, for a bug. a variegated body. So we're going to dub it up to just a little bit more than halfway. Probably not 2/3, but you know, maybe 60%, I guess, is a good mark to aim for. So let's get this caught in. I'll need to go back just a little farther. And I might need to add a little bit more dubbing on here. So this, you know, tan and orange, it does give me a little bit of a variegated look. So I kind of like that, but I need to go a little more forward than that. So let's put a little bit more dubbing on here and add just a bit more. Okay, I think that's just a little bit more than halfway. So let's flip this turkey biot over, and I'm going to just use one wrap right there to kind of hold it in. Make sure you got it coming over the top like you want. I think that's going to be fine right there. Now we'll wrap our rib, and you want to wrap this just like you do any rib, you know, fairly tight. It's giving the fly some durability, maybe just a little bit of flash. But mostly it's going to lock that biot in and then secure this fuzzy dubbing we have. So that's what, 4 or 5 turns right there. Now I'm going to back this thread off, and let's see, it'll go right there. Lift that up. That's going to give us enough of a thorax. So just put a couple extra wraps right here. And how I do this, just several wraps of thread, put some tension on my thread, pull it down. Now I can spin this off without it going anywhere. So we've got that taken care of. Let's take our thread back just a little bit, and we're going to dub the thorax. Now I'm going to use the same dubbing I just did, but go crazy if you want. Make it a different color, make it all orange, you know, whatever color scheme you got. Some flies, some bugs do have a different color thorax than the body. But whatever you choose to use, just try to make it a little bit thicker. You know, that will give you the right profile. So put it on here, maybe a couple inches, and I'm going to wrap this one thicker than the body and take it up almost all the way to the eye. So I think I've got about, maybe 2 inches of dubbing right here. We'll see what this does for us. We might need to add some more in a minute. Yeah, that's not really thicker. That's about the same thickness of the body, so I'm going to put just a touch more on it. Okay, that's a little bit thicker. I think we can live with that. Let's see, is that Wingcase going to be the right length when we flip it over? I think that will be just fine. So before we flip that over though, let's tie in some tails, or some legs. Now that same turkey tail feather I used, I just pulled out about 8 or 10 of these fibers right here, and I'm not even worried if they're sticking together, but what I will try to do is split them up, get maybe 4 on one side and 4 on the other, and just lay it right here to length. Now it's going to be a little bit long, but I'll put a loose wrap right there. See, those legs are just a little long, but I can shorten them. I haven't put any securing wraps yet. So let's go ahead and pull these legs up till we get, the right length. And how's that? I think that's going to be fine right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of tight wraps. I don't want it to spin around too much on me. Okay. So there's the fuzzy legs coming off. Let's just snip this excess right here. Now, and if you didn't get them aligned just right, don't sweat it. You can use this goose biot or turkey biot to help position them. So go ahead and flip this over right on top. Let's get a couple of securing wraps right here and take a look at it. I've got one leg that's a bit longer than the others. We're going to take care of that in a second though. So just a couple of tight wraps here. Now these biots are fairly durable. They're not going to break on you. And you are going to have to cut it. You can't just reach in there and yank it off. So, okay, got a little bit of fuzz right there, but I think we can take care of that. I'm going to push it back up with my finger take my thread right back behind the eye and then just build a ramp and make it as big a head as you want. It is a nymph after all. Okay, I'm fine with that size head right there. Let's go ahead and whip finish it, and then we will have a little bit of cleanup because I see one leg right there that I don't like. So I'll do a 4-turn whip finish right there. Got some room for some head cement. Go ahead and saw that off. And check out that profile. Okay, that looks fine. Got a little bit right here for a cleanup, and I've got one long fiber right there. So it's kind of just a fuzzy impressionistic nymph. A general purpose, looks like a lot of things, but nothing exactly. So there you go, folks. Pretty easy tie and a pretty versatile pattern. So you can make this in pretty much any color combination you want. Anything that you're trying to match out there, you know, go for it. So that's it, everybody. I appreciate you watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.